She left.
2. All right. We are live. Welcome everybody that is joining in or those who will join in. Please share this Facebook Live with your friends. You can start a watch party if you want to and allow others to join in as they shall. But thank you for joining us tonight as we talk about what is holistic health with the Ashakti Wellness and Yoga Team. So, we've been having some technical difficulties, but we're going to keep the show moving and flowing as we shall. And hopefully, you guys will get some good information as you tap in. So, just in general, I want to welcome everybody to this live as you get to it's like a meet and greet for the Ashakti Wellness family. Some of the practitioners that will be assisting you on your wellness journey. For those who don't know me, I am Asha Sims. I'm the owner, clinical director of Ashakti Wellness and Yoga. I am a licensed clinician, holistic wellness practitioner in which I provide a different variety of services through the mental health component. We'll talk a little bit about that more about what does holistic health look like. But we're just going to go around and introduce ourselves so everybody will know who everybody is. And then we're going to get into some dialogue about holistic health, because that's all about what Ashakti Wellness is, how we can integrate the mind, body, and spirit to get to the root. That's the most important thing about Ashakti Wellness and Yoga compared to other modalities. We are looking at the root cause of the issue, not the symptoms. That is the difference, so that we have more longevity in the healing process instead of a quick fix. So, Sherelle, we'll start with you. If you just want to introduce yourself to the people and who you are.
Well, hello. I am Sherelle D. Kennedy. I am a licensed, I always get the acronym incorrect because it's so many. Licensed clinical mental health counselor associate at Ashakti Wellness and Yoga LLC. I'm also a Reiki master teacher. So I tend to work with high performing women on the issues of really thriving after they've already succeeded in their goals. I also work with couples relative to their relationship. And so my main focus is self-identity, knowing self, understanding self, and knowing others.
All right, wonderful. That sounds jazzy. All right, thank you for introducing yourself. And next, Shay.
Hello, everyone. My name is Shea White Joseph, and I am a medical consultant or medical intuitive with Ashakti Wellness and Yoga. And my main focus is to bring an awareness, an understanding to the client or the patient on a medical realm, mind, body, and spirit, health modalities that will balance and make your body whole again, make you feel better, as opposed to some of the things that we're being offered in the conventional realm that only puts a Band-Aid over the issues. So I have a history as a physician assistant, and I'm also a Reiki practitioner. I've studied some in iridology. So I'm just glad to be here. I am excited about this new avenue that we are all bringing to the table to help our community, to help people as a whole.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you, thank you. So we have another practitioner. She was having technical difficulties, but as Ms. T comes in, we'll add her in. But in the meantime, we're going to talk a little bit about breaking down mind, body, and spirit and holistic approaches to healing. And just starting out, one of the reasons going into private practice and starting a business was, as my background as a licensed mental health clinician, I was getting burned out, meaning so many of my clients, you know, whether you were needing to have therapy for years, I felt burnt out because I wasn't seeing the progress that I should, or not saying I should, but what I felt that client needs to get to the outcome, overall achievement of their goals. And so due to some personal situations, I started dwelling more in the holistic approach. That's when I came across Reiki and energy work, and started implementing it in my personal life, along with yoga and some other modalities. And I realized this is what we need in the mental health field. And within that, understanding that we cannot just heal the mind without healing the body, without healing the spirit. So we have to look at all domains of wellness if we want to find some type of balance. So, with that being said, that is what this team um, makes up. So, even from my part of being a metaphysical practitioner, meaning I look at the energy centers in any form of healing that I do, even in the mental health aspect. When my clients come, I'm not really as concerned about what their mental health diagnosis is, aside from what are some of the physical feelings or symptoms that they're having, which is going to help me to know what energy center may have some blockages that is causing the mental and the spiritual blockages as well. So that is where we bring in, when you hear about Reiki, what is Reiki, some other videos that we have that talk about energy work, but it's just basically having an understanding of how we all have these energy centers that align our spines, and they're responsible for how we take in information, process information, and put it out. And if we have any blockages, it can manifest into physical issues. So understanding where the root cause is going to help you heal overall, because by the time you're feeling it physically in your body, it started here. So sometimes in our approaches and how we practice, whether it's medicine and even traditional psychotherapy, everybody is fragmenting the healing process. The mental health workers are just dealing with the mind, but at the end of the day, if your body is flaring up in chronic pain, you're not want to sit and process in therapy. It's really not, you're irritated to talk about it in some aspects. So sometimes we got to go to the body and find out what's going on there before we can even get to the source or the root of what some of the issues are. So that is where we incorporate the chakras. All of us are energy practitioners. We incorporate the chakras and the energy centers as much as possible, and help you to understand more about who you are, how you operate, and where those areas are that we need to start at to start any type of healing. So chakra work, Reiki, all that heals things on that energetic level. Then once all that's clear, we can get to the mind. Then you can connect to the body in that capacity. Our other practitioner just logged in. T, if you would just briefly introduce yourself before we start breaking down the different areas of holistic health.
Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Tanea, but everybody calls me T. I am an energy practitioner, medical intuitive. I'm here at Ashakti Wellness. I do a lot of the detox services and a lot of the sauna blankets. I also do Reiki sessions. I do a lot of things with, about grounding and other things like that. But, and, just happy to be here.
Thank you. All right, wonderful. So I talked a little bit about the metaphysics and the energy and how that incorporates into health and healing. Let's go. We'll keep it with the mind. Sherelle, as a clinician, tell us a little bit about the importance of mental health as we deal with things holistically.
So when we talk about mental health, we really want to talk about the philosophy of how we see self. So similar to what people say, mind, body, spirit, I actually say mind, soul, spirit. So that's we are spirit with a soul housed within a body. And that connection is really important because just like you said with the energy centers, something can be off with that alignment. But if we talk about the soul is comprised of three different parts. So there is the unconscious, there's the conscious, and then there's the subconscious. Now, with the conscious, that's the everyday behaviors we see of ourselves. That's what we think of ourselves because we see our outward actions a lot of the times. But our subconscious is really a part of what our emotions are, what our beliefs are, what our values are. But then when we look at the unconscious, that's really where the trauma lies. So that's secrets, that's pain, that's hurt. And that's really driving a lot of what we do and how we interact. But the issue is we often see our behaviors and we don't necessarily know the underlying values that's driving those emotions. Because say like a behavior will happen or somebody will move your hand away. Well, as to one person, depending on their trauma, it could be an egregious mistake that they move their hand away because, like abuse could have been there, some sort of violation. But then another person, if you move their hand away, simple action, right? But we're not, similar to what you were saying about understanding the root cause, we're not understanding the motivations for our behaviors. We're not understanding the systems behind that. And what you often find, because I like what you said about, like when a person's done, you really can't talk to them. You can't you can't help them in any kind of way. The other thing that we also see is there's a total loss of identity there. They don't know who they are. They don't know what they're doing. And so what I do is I really work on that subconscious to help the person study themselves to understand who they are. A lot of times we just know what we like and what we don't like, but we don't really understand the core essence of our soul. And so my other background, I'm a researcher. And so I do assessments with people to identify their characteristics so they can understand just how they will respond to things, where their traumas lie, and what their motivating behaviors are. So when you see a breakdown with the body, and you can tell, like, kind of like, have y'all ever had like a deep sleep and you kind of wake up and it's like your mind is foggy and you're asking yourself those simple questions like, who am I? Where am I? What am I doing? What is my purpose? That's what happens when you see a soul breakdown in someone. They're wondering what their purpose is. The other thing that I tell people, a lot of times we think for some reason we confuse our purpose with our role. So like most people think, they'll say, well, I'm a teacher, that's my purpose. No, that's not your purpose. Our purpose is an umbrella of general issues that we tend to solve based on our personality characteristics, based on our authentic self identity. So there's only really four purposes that a person can have. They can bring innovation to society, they can bring stability to society, they can bring excitement to society, and they can bring unity to society. But while any one of those could be your purpose, you express those in several different ways. So like I often work with people on understanding themselves relative to that. Let's just say you're a runner and you had a horrible accident. If you base your identity on being a runner and you can no longer lose your legs, you're then going through an identity crisis. So I have to help you work on, well, what was your basic purpose? It wasn't running. It wasn't that role. It wasn't that action. It wasn't that behavior. There's something else that you're bringing to society relative to spirit that you just used willpower and choices through your emotions and your body to express. So I know I said a lot.
No, but I like that because even in understanding, like you said, the layers, when we talk about energy layers and that self-identity, and I can honestly say, in working with a lot of clients, once we get past the traumas, and that's the thing, many of us are living throughout life with the false mask based upon early childhood traumas or traumatic experience or just programming. It's not all trauma. It's just from birth on up and what our parents instilled and experiences we have. So many of us are living life based upon the roles or the mask that people expect us to be. So then you go through this identity crisis of the inner spirit is saying, no, this is you. But the world, which may be your teachers, which may be your parents, which may be your husband, which may be your wife, feels you should act one way. So what often happens is many people lose themselves. Bottom line is that clear line, well, who am I and what people want me to be and who am I? Then that's what causes mental imbalances when you're not living in accordance to your own true self and identity. So that's that layer of work that Sherelle brings, that once we find the balance of the past traumas and the programming and you're feeling more rooted and grounded, most people then is like what we learned. Anybody's had psychology classes, Maslow's hierarchy of needs. You got to have your base basic needs met, housing, food, clothing, shelter. Then you got to have stability of your emotions. Without those foundations, no, it's hard to self-actualize because you don't know what it is. Because if it's based off fear of not having food, we're going to tend to do things that would not be part of our true character. Most crimes that are committed, I mean, we do have sociopaths and those are deviant, but majority of crimes are based upon not having food, clothing, or shelter. Is robbing Peter to pay the bills, to get food in my house and things of that nature. So it's hard to reach your maximum potential if your basic needs are not being met. So I think that's what we're saying, that everything has to be looked at holistically in order to get that true source of healing and finding out who you are. So go ahead, Sherelle.
I wanted to touch on this because I love working with this particular type of client, especially high functioning minority members. What they actually do is they kind of they disguise survival mode through high functioning, right? So when they actually get to their goals, they really don't know how to thrive. So like a lot of times we'll see well put together people who look nice, who have successful jobs and things like that. And then they're asking you the question of, well, why can't I just be happy? And it's like, got through where you are through combating your traumas and everything, but not necessarily addressing the root of who you are and what you actually even liked, and then it impacts the relationships with other people. And that's where you get that messaging where other people are telling you one thing, and then you're like, I don't feel comfortable with that, or you're going through some sort of crisis where it's not right, but you're still moving forward in that. So what I'm saying is that identity and how we move really does impact also our relationship with others. So it's not just self, it's always the environment, self, and others.
Exactly. And I think that's so key because so often we get caught up in our roles. And like we say, you do a lot of work. One of your specialties is working with couples and relationships and marriages. And a lot of my clients I have are women that are going through divorces and learning to re-identify who they are, not being a wife, not being a mother, all the roles that you may tend to play. And then one of those roles is not there. It's like, who am I? Because for so long we submerged into one role to adapt, and then we forgot who we really are. So that's where even counseling can help those going through life changes. And that's something we say, what is the benefits of counseling and holistic and wellness services as we're talking about counseling, but it's not always what you think. If anybody is dealing with any issues on adjusting to life changes, that is where counseling can come in. Adjustments to your marriages and relationships. We grow. We're not the same people we were a year ago. We're not the same people we were 2 years ago. So yes, in the course of a marriage, you're not the same person that you came in when you first married. And actually for many, that role changed, especially for those that might have dated for 12 years. Then they get married and struggle within 2 years. Why? The role. You was a girlfriend and a solid girlfriend or boyfriend for 12 years. And then when you get married, it's issues because, oh, I'm a wife now, or I'm a husband. And expectations change. You change your whole identity for this role, and it causes stress.
Yeah.
So,
go ahead. I love the comment that people give, like, you're not the person that I met. And it's like, they shouldn't be, especially if you've been together for 10 to 20 years.
Right. You shouldn't be that same person. Right. We're supposed to be growing in this thing together, not the same person. But as we talk about where counseling come in, because growing can cause insecurities, then that's a whole nother area to tackle, because we can go into relationships. That's a whole nother thing. But when people come together, you may not even realize you're coming together in a wounded state. So as one person begins to heal and find that sense of self and purpose, that need they might have had for that partner at that time is no longer as impactful. So then that leaves the partner feeling insecure. Yeah. So it's just a good example of not knowing who you are and your true self can cause imbalances, which can cause depression, which can cause anxiety and a whole bunch of other issues that now allows us to shift to Shea in explaining a little more about the physical side. And we just love her addition to the Shakti Wellness family, because coming from that medical background is so key, because often we get caught up in our symptoms and we just want resolvement and don't really know it's quicker than just getting that medication to take the pain away, and it can manifest in other areas of your body. So Shay, if you want to tell us a little bit about the physical approach and the importance of our bodies and how we heal.
Sure. So, from a medical perspective, I think it's first and foremost important that the client or the patient understands how their body works from an intercellular level, and then on individually or collectively. So I would start out by, I think it's important to start out by breaking down the components of the human cell and the organ system in a way that the patient can understand, making it easy for the client to be open to adjusting and making the necessary changes or transitions needed to feel better or to balance and be whole. Also, from a medical perspective, we can dive into nutrition and the vitamins and minerals that are needed for the body that we lack because of unhealthy diets or unhealthy ways of living that we've had with us for so long. It's important to individualize meal plans according to the patient's health condition or their ways of living, their current ways of living. Just making some little adjustments that won't seem so tedious or overbearing or intimidating to the patient. But getting back to the cellular level, is everything. When I think about life in itself, everything is energy. Every living thing cannot be living without energy. And it's like you were saying earlier, Asha, it starts with the root of the problem. We have to address the root of the problem first. And by addressing the root of the problem, we can get to the place where we can find out, where did this start from? What factors are in play that will lead to the issue, the ailment, the disease that the patient is having? So when we start at the root of the problem, we can break it down on the cellular level, see exactly what the problem is, and then make the necessary adjustments, whether it is what the patient is taking in, what type of environmental factors. Environmental factors are so important. What are the stressors? Eliminating some stressors, or if it's foods that they're taking in, addressing the food, or if it's a lack of daily exercising or what have you, anything that can cause a negative effect on the body, that can decrease that energy level, especially on the cellular level. Cells operate off energy, emotional, whether stress, anxiety, depression, or any other psychological illness that the patient may have been dealing with or diagnosed with. So you start out on a cellular level, and if it's not anything emotional, then we start on a physical level and just make some tweaks in daily living activities that they're doing to make them feel better, to cause them to feel better. And the best thing about this when it comes to healthcare is that there's it's free of prescription medications, which can be dangerous on the body, mind, body, and spirit. So the patient, they don't have to worry about not only the expense of prescription medications, but the side effects or extra symptoms that will cause them to have to go to a healthcare provider and be given more prescriptions that may have other side effects on top of this. We can bring into play on the medical realm non-invasive natural modalities that can assist the body on a cellular level in repairing, replenishing, and resetting itself to its original state, which is to be healthy.
Right. And I think that's so key, Shay. One thing I want to say, and we're talking about cells and energy. So as we're introducing these things to many who don't understand the concept of energy work, But even understanding when we're talking about the cells and the DNA, that when we talk about epigenetics of how things can be passed down, we talk about generational trauma, but even from whether it's psychological, whether it's from physical ailments, we have to realize that it's a lot of things that is in the cellular DNA that we're having to reprogram in order to heal. So that's why all the time medication may take that symptom away, but it's still there. It's still in your DNA. And therefore, when you have children, it's passed down. So our role in the here and now is reprogramming your cellular DNA mentally, physically, and spiritually. And a lot of people would not think that can be done because most of our upbringing, if anything is not working, either take some medicine to numb it or take it out. And so this process that we say healing is not always pretty, but we're going to get it. Always use an example of how we operate as a team. And it may not sound pleasant, but I keep it real. So we've all had a wound, and that wound may have covered up. The scab is back on it and everything. And we're thinking everything is okay. But then it starts to itch. It starts to get irritated because if that wound is toxic, then it's going to go into the bloodstream. It's going to go into the body. So what our approach is taking that scab off, which means it's going to open it all up again, all the pain, all the hurt. But this time we're going to make sure it heals appropriately. So we're not just going to the mental aspect. We got to go to the physical, the medical aspect of the cells and where they're unhealthy and where the unhealthy programming is now manifesting in your body. That is why we see, and when you go to the doctor, or a lot of forms, if you know you fill out, they ask for your family history. What is the history of high blood pressure? What is the history of diabetes? All of these things say a lot about who you are right here in the now. Even if you have not had those symptoms, you're carrying that DNA trait. And if we really went back and looked at the source of a lot of that, whether it's stress level of those ancestors, whether it has trauma, but we're still taking upon those traits. And I'm pretty sure, Shea, you can piggyback on this. One of the number one causes of most illnesses is stress.
And that's what I was going to say.
And the hormone levels and how it functions with our body. So tell a little bit of how that stress and our hormones can shut us down and affect everything.
It certainly can. You made a great point. A lot of these things that we are dealing with on a cellular level, when you look at our family history, the root of it is mainly environmental factors. So if we can straighten out the environmental factors, get to the root of the problem with the environmental factors, we can even begin to heal it on a cellular level. So yes, when you're stressed, your body, believe it or not, the cells feel that. Stress is a form of energy. And that's where energy healing comes into, Reiki comes into, being able to balance out your chakras, to help you on the cellular level also. So it's not just food and beverages and the things that you put on your skin, it's your emotions as well. So when that type of low vibrating energy from stress when there's stress going on, your cortisol level is high. That's one of the main hormones that kind of elevate, especially in women, when we're stressed out or we're going through something that's challenging, whether it be mental, physical, or emotional. At that cortisol level, it increases, and it tends to cause us to hold on to extra body fat. It tends to cause us not to be able to rest appropriate at night. We tend to stress eat, and most times that food that we take in is something that we don't need, like snack foods, chips, cookies, or just food that the body cannot heal itself from. So when on a cellular level, when you're stressed out, the body takes in that as information to that cell, and it can hold on to the disease process until that root cause is eliminated. And when the disease process is held onto, then there's no way that you're going to continue to have these symptoms, and there's no way that your body can heal, even with prescription medication, if you don't deal with the hormone or the stress levels or whatever's causing you to be imbalanced.
Mm-hmm. And even I think, and now, and when we look at the things, especially now, we're hearing so much about autoimmune.
Yeah,
That means basically your body, which normally protects you from any foreign invaders that
yes,
could cause harm, is now
yes,
attacking you.
exactly,
So
exactly.
within that, we got to look at internal. This is why we talk about holistic healing. You got to go within, and if you understand
Exactly.
that you can heal yourself before you even reach out externally to other practitioners, that we put all our faith in, that the healing has to start within first, and
Exactly.
addressing those parts of us that we may have shame about, that we may have guilt about, that we tend to displace on others. But if we're
Exactly.
holding it in our body, that means all that guilt. And I use this example when we talk about metaphysical and energy, even now in the times of COVID. Some people go through the whole debate: is COVID real, or is it fake, or is it a conspiracy theory? However, COVID is something that is out there, but we do know that COVID's origins came from a dark place. It
Yes,
came from manipulative people as part of some in a genetic factory,
yes,
and what has happened is coming from a dark place. So what can happen when we talk about illnesses and things of that nature that we attract, if we're holding on, COVID is a heart chakra illness. That
mm-hmm,
means it affects the lungs, it affects your breath, your autoimmune system and everything. So if many of us are holding on to things, not releasing grief, not forgiving others, not forgiving yourself, dealing with sadness and all of that, that COVID is going to be like, ooh, that's a nice warm place to go take residence in, because there's a lot of trapped energy. And what the
exactly.
doctors don't even tell us, even with cancer, cancer can't thrive where there's oxygen.
Right,
It's
right,
not possible. So that means wherever cancer has located in our body, that is an energy source center that we may be holding on to unresolved things, or not allowing it to operate, so that it becomes stagnant. And wherever stagnant, anything stagnant settles, bacteria, disease, the same thing with sitting water. So we have to look at all of this to understand overall how we need to make moves in health, whether it's a cancer diagnosis, mind over matter. Sometimes that's the difference between someone getting a diagnosis and saying, oh, I'm about to die, or someone getting a diagnosis and say, I'm about to live. It starts here
yes.
first.
It starts
Then
with
we got to go to the body. Yes.
it starts with changing your overall attitude, mind, body, and spirit. You don't have, just because your mom or your dad had high blood pressure, heart disease, and then you go to the doctor and he looks at your family history, he or she looks at your family history and say, okay, well, your mom and dad have it, there's no wonder that yours is a little elevated as well, meaning that because they had it, you're going to have it too. 9 times out of 10, you're going to have it too. But that doesn't necessarily have to be the case. You can heal your body by changing the way you think about things, not only on a physical level, but mental and emotional level. Like you said, you have to forgive. Don't live in bitterness and disgust and anger. Being able to use your throat chakra, um, voicing what you feel, being able to love unconditionally, being able to live with non-attachment and non-judgment. Um, all these things bring about healing. And when I say on the cellular level, a lot of people don't know that the cell is our basic unit of life. The basic unit of life means that it's the platform, it's the foundation from which all living things come to be. So if you think about that, with the cell being the basic unit of life, we are in essence one big giant cell walking around here. And that's the magnificence of the human body. So just like our body has a structure, so does our cell. Our cell has a structure, and then the organ systems have a structure as well. Just like we have skin on our body that protects us from outside harmful agents, the human cell has the same thing. Just like outside environmental factors affect us mentally, because we are this big giant cell, it also affects the cells that our body is made up of that we can't see inside of us. It affects your heart cells, your lung cells, uh, your bladder, your female organs or your male organs. It affects every organ system. So we have to look at our cell, our internal cellular structure, like we look at ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
So the bottom line is that we have to come to a place of loving ourselves enough to be able to make the necessary changes, starting from the inside, so that it can manifest on the outside.
Yeah. And just to add to this, I always have to throw this in. Everybody always say, here she comes with the sex talk. But and just because to me that's holistic health, because even what you were saying about the cell and the origins, we have to go back and even look at the origins of our existence, which comes from an orgasm. And through that orgasm of the egg and the sperm, they come, and that moment that they attach is light that forms. And that's when the first cell begins, when that egg and that sperm. So even from the act of sexual, and I say that because so many of us have unhealthy programming when it comes around the sex that is taboo, is a shame, and is what got us here. So maybe if our mentality around sexual health change, it can even change our molecular structure of what we birth, because of the mindset that we're using our sexual creation and power in. So
Right.
it is important to even understand healthy orgasm, healthy sex life, because at this point in time in our society, and I can even speak in the African American population, we're dealing with males having low the hormone for males, the hormone levels for the men, they're low, so they're having problems.
Testosterone.
Thank you. Getting women pregnant because they're not producing the masculine, the male hormone, whether it comes from diet, whether it comes from stress. And we talk about chakras and prostate cancer and things. That's a root chakra issue for men. And we can even go back to talk about African American males are always in this time now feeling a sense of stress of being able to provide or feeling like they're under attack. So therefore, it only makes sense that they're having issues in the prostate areas. Women dealing with the womb, and how many of us are getting hysterectomies as the all in all answer for any reproductive areas. Yeah. And that's an area that is based upon hormones as well. So we can take all these things out. So now we got a society where we're having a problem having kids that's causing emotional imbalances. The men are dealing with erectile dysfunction. And really the majority of it is coming from environmental stressors that's now affecting us mentally and now making us question ourselves on who we are and identity and our purposes. That all comes back around to sex. But that's a whole nother topic. So, but we're going to bring on our next person is a practitioner with us, and she does a lot of work with grounding, because I think now we have to understand as energy flows, one of the primary sources of energy that connects us to energy is the earth. And that is where we came in with the whole Reiki and the energy and allowing energy to flow as above, as below. But we're going to bring on Miss Tanea to tell us a little bit more about the services she helps to ground and detox, which is necessary before we really start any type of healing journey. But Ms. T, if you would share with us a little bit about the importance of grounding.
Well, hey, how are you guys? First of all, grounding is one of the most important things that I feel we should do on a day-to-day basis. Because on a day-to-day, can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Because on a day-to-day basis, okay, on a day-to-day basis, we go through a lot, like Shea was saying, on a cellular level that we don't even know about. Like a lot of the times things happen and we react to it, but when we get older, we learn we can't physically react to it. Mentally, we'll go through it, but our body still has reaction. So when it comes to grounding was the natural way from time ago, when we weren't wearing these shoes, when we were just free, that we naturally balanced our body and detoxed our body. It actually helped me balance our energy level, actually helped to heal us faster. Like Shea, pity back on what Shea and was saying about the cellular level. It was our direct connect. The electrons was like a wash, and we were one. Now we wear shoes, we have other things encasing us, so we don't get to ground as naturally as we usually do. That the result of that is it holds in more toxins in our body, especially a lot of toxins are a lot of times we get sick through our feet and our heads. That's what they say when we were younger. When we were grounded, when we were laying on the ground, when we were actually free, that's where we were releasing our toxin. When we were running, when we were walking, we were healing, connected directly to the ground. So, in a lot of the services that we provide, we start with a detox, because a lot of toxins that we have in our bodies, we get from everywhere, environmental, what we eat, what we breathe, what we think.
Yeah.
Disease in the spirit becomes disease in the body. So when people come in, we have a foot detox. You come in, you put your feet in, and we draw all these toxins out of your body. Now, a lot of these toxins are things you wouldn't even think that will be in your body on a day-to-day basis. But it's metals, it's mucus, it's a million things that our bodies naturally do not want in. And when we don't detoxify and we don't get these out, things start to happen. Your mood shifts. Your mind gets cloudy. You can't sleep. Your diet doesn't change. You can't hold weight. You can't lose weight. Your personality on a whole can change. And when you get down to the next service we have is like a sauna blanket. You get inside, you get your whole body, you get a nice warm glow, you get that wet, and it detoxifies your entire body in one sitting, not just through the feet, but through all the pores all over your body. Because once we get those toxins out, you get to feel the true feeling of your body, your energy. Because a lot of times we carry on a lot of energies from other people, from other things, from other food. And we don't realize that we're just a dumping ground. So we're walking around just carrying all these toxins. And then once we ground and we detoxify, we feel, this doesn't feel right. Goes back to healing. Like you said, once you start healing, you start hearing your body. Your body said, wait a minute. When my arm started hurting like that? When did it start getting bald? When did I put this weight on? What happened? It's because you wasn't feeling these toxins. It's just squirrel, distractions. Because your body's trying to get back right, and all you're doing is just clogging it. Like Shea would say, oh, getting a little sad, let me get some of that ice cream. Nah, you got to ground, baby. Go outside. Put your feet in some grass. Put your hands in some plants. Get a Reiki session. Get those chakras realigned. A lot of the patients, a lot of clients that I see, they come in, and most of the time, they don't have the answers for what they see because they haven't been still. Part of the magic in the Reiki session is them being still. 30 minutes to an hour. When was the last time you sat still? No talking, no phone, still. I tell them all, you're probably going to go to sleep. Because our bodies are just been, and we don't give it that time to be still.
And your body can't heal if it doesn't rest.
If it doesn't rest, exactly. If you don't rest, you don't heal. Part of the magic of Reiki says you sit there and we go to these key energy points, and we get you really relaxed, and you get to a point where we realign your chakras. We get your true energy back. And a lot of people are like, I feel amazing. That's how you're naturally supposed to feel before you let all these things affect you. Let all these things cloud you, physically, emotionally. A lot of the times, people don't even know they want to cry. Their body wants to cry, but they hold it in. The form of detox. So once you come and you detox these things physically, we give you the Reiki session, you get it, you ease your body, you stay still, we ground you. You can get to a level where you can know your body. Like Shea, like Asha, like Sherelle said, like it's a whole person. Every single piece goes with it. But the first you got to be still to understand where you got to go. Once you're still, you say, oh, well, that hurts. Now we're going to go to Shea. Hey, Shea, this hurt. And I've been, and then you go to Asha. I said, that must be a root chakra. She says, hey, that's that cell. Pharrell's like, you know what? We're going to talk about their identity. You see how it comes into a whole person. You gotta be still.
Yeah.
And we gotta ask for help. And we gotta know when it's not okay. Asking for help is not a sign of weakness. Needing to talk to somebody is a sign of stress. It's saying, you know what? I don't need to lean on my own understanding right now because there's something here I don't get. And we're here to help on every level. Not just on a professional, but 9 times out of 10, we probably had or seen or know of a way of why this happened that doesn't involve medicine. Medicine, and it just treats the symptoms. And it smothers the problem.
And it adds more symptoms.
And it adds more symptoms.
It adds more symptoms. And I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you what T was saying as far as getting outdoors and grounding. Not only is there an exchange, the earth takes in your the positive energy, the positive connection from your feet just when you touch the ground, and gives you that negative exchange, not meaning there's an exchange of electrons. To help balance your body. But also with grounding, you have to take in consideration just being out into nature. When you think about the greenery, when you think about the trees and the strawberries, the trees, they're so important to us because we are allowed an even exchange of gases. We wouldn't even be able to survive here on Earth if we didn't have trees, because the trees release that oxygen for us. Our body needs oxygen to live, period. You won't be able to live without oxygen. And then in exchange, we release carbon dioxide for the trees. The trees thrive off carbon dioxide from living things. So that's another part of grounding. Not only are you in connection to the earth with your feet, there's an even exchange there. You know, and for a lot of us that are in the African and American spectrum, brown and Black people, people of color, we have been taught to think that or to feel that the elements of nature are bad for us. We can't get our hair wet, because we've had negative connotations about our hair. We don't want to be out in the sun too long because we don't want to get too dark. But you don't understand. You got to hear me. These are the elements that you need. You need vitamin D. I'm gonna tell you, don't take vitamin D prescriptions from the doctor. Exactly, or from over-the-counter supplements. You get it from the sun. That's what we need. The sun provides us not only with vitamin D, it provides us with energy as well. We need water, whether it's through rain. Our hair needs that. We need that water because our body is made up of over 80% of water, especially our brain. That's what made us. So we need the trees, we need the fresh air, we need the earth needs us. We need all of these elements.
Yeah, and that's what keeps our immune system. And if we look at many people are hearing about, like with the COVID now, we're not hearing as much about the homeless population and their homeless rate. So what I've heard and inquiring is, yes, I've heard breakouts in the shelters, but those, I know here in Charlotte, Tent City, they're not social distancing. But one thing, they are outside more, so they're getting vitamin D, and they are sleeping on the ground.
Exactly.
So even if it's not just the cold, at one point in time, we had mattresses on the floor. We've gotten fancy now. We're elevated. We're far from the floor. And the homeless population are not in environments with constant stimulation from electromagnetic frequencies that we are. All these electronics and Wi-Fi and 5G that we have flowing through our house, our phones next to our bed, the lamp next to our bed, the TV on, have electromagnetic frequencies that can impact how we process. So our stress levels are not we're not as up to par to be resistant to stress because we have constant stress even when we sleep. And many of you now are having issues with insomnia. Your sleep cycles are off. You're sleepy during the day, awake at night. Your appetites have changed, and a lot of that is coming from the environmental stressors.
Right.
So that is why, with all of this, the grounding and centering and getting your mind right and getting your diet right is going to help you become more balanced. And the more we get stuck with the comfort things, the more unhealthy we are. So it's like going back to our roots if we want to survive. It's survival of the fittest right now. And many of us are leaving here, whether it's for spiritual purposes, because many of us need those on the other side to help with this warfare. This is a biological warfare. This is a physical warfare. It's a spiritual warfare that is all taking place. So the more you understand your purpose, the more you would not get thrown off your game, basically, for what you're here to do. And the purpose of why we are still here, alive, breathing, is work to get got to be done. And that's what our role is and how we can help you from a holistic approach. And not too many, nobody has any questions right now. So we're coming up on 50 minutes. So if Sherelle, is there anything, I know we want to let them know about Shea's, Shea, tell them a little bit about your webinar that is coming up for people to hear a little bit more about how the cells work.
Oh yeah, the cell, our bodies are so magnificent. Like I said earlier, we're just one big giant cell. So I think it's important that anyone that comes to us know how the cell, that building block, that foundation, that platform, they know how it works. I will begin to break down the cells from one component to another to allow you to see that the cell has not only skin, it has a digestive tract, it has a brain, it has a heart, it has fluid to transport, just like we do. We have a brain, we have a heart, we have a digestive system for elimination. It's magnificent. So I'm looking forward from week to week to break down the cell in a fashion that everyone can understand, so that it will allow you to make the necessary adjustments or transitions to love not only your cells, but yourself, your cells as well, so that you can be able to bring about healing and allow your body to operate like it was originally designed to operate. So
what was the date of your training? What is it? January? What was the date?
January 30th. We will be talking about the cell structure. We're going to break it down each week. We're going to talk about a part of the cell each week, and there'll be questions and answers. And I'm also going to be able to. I'm going to incorporate a nutritional or other healthcare modalities that you can incorporate to help the cell on that particular level, depending on which structure of the cell that we're discussing. So tune in January 30th to be informed, to be educated, and to begin your healing process.
Yes, so I have the link up here for you to register. If you're not able to get all that down, email me or inbox me, and I can send you the registration link. It is a free workshop. Next month, T will be doing one on grounding and the importance of that. But just in general, you guys have a better understanding of how we incorporate our healing modalities to help you become more centered and more grounded in who you are through all our services. Shea, starting in February, will be able to provide medical consultation. So almost like the same type of intake when you go to your doctor for your physical, she's going to be able to get all that information. If you come with your blood work and your lab work from your doctor, she will be able to review all of that, look at it, and give you more of an integrative approach to help heal. Shea, as well as myself, are also yoga practitioners, and we will be incorporating more somatic and body movement into healing, into our modalities. Sometimes it's not as much about talk therapy, but moving out the trauma that is settled in your body. So incorporating different modalities, but that is what she will be doing in February, doing those complete comprehensive medical consultations that can give you some information, even if you still see a health provider. at least she can provide you with certain information to help as an advocate. So when you go speak to the doctor, you know the lingo to say, you know, like what you don't want, or you have more awareness of what to present when you go to your primary care to the doctor. So we're very excited to have Shea on board with that. And, you know, looking forward to what she offers, as well as her yoga classes she will be teaching at 8 o'clock in the morning on Thursdays at AM Gentle Yoga class. So we're getting the movement, we're getting the therapy, we're getting you grounded, we're getting your identity. Sherelle, is there anything you want to say as we close out?
Yeah, so the other rollout of services with relationships and relationship coaching. So we'll be able to bring you a lot of new services. I'm really excited about the relationship coaching because if you're dating, if you're thinking about getting married, if you're just in a talking stage with someone and you're really interested in how to move forward in your relationship, we can actually give you an assessment. So it's almost like a 13-page write-up. So just like you can go to Shea for your physical wellness, we can provide relationship wellness. So I'm really excited about those services.
Yes, yes. Well, we thank you all for being a part of this live. Please share this with your friends. We know that the services that we offer, if not one aspect or all aspects, is something that our community needs at this point in time. So please, we accept for counseling services, we accept major insurances, FSA, HSA, and even some of our services that T provides or Shea can be under the HSA and FSA category to assist. So we have a variety that can meet your needs on all aspects. We'll eventually be adding in some financial wellness because half our stress too comes from money. And that comes from a different mindset too, you know, of how you view money, and your worth, your self-value also makes a big difference on what your prosperity is. So look for us having multitude of different workshops on different topics that we're offering. We've launched our yoga classes this week. So it's time to get moving. I tell everybody 2020 was about vision. 2021 is about action. We have seen what we didn't do, what we needed to do, what we should have done. So now that you see all that, what are you going to do? It's time to put in action, because if we don't act upon things, and the more we become blind and turn in our eye, it affects our health. It affects everything. It affects our family, and it affects our community. And at this point in time, we as individuals have to become more whole if we want our community to be whole. So that's what we're here to offer. Any of you guys want to say anything else before we close it out? That was it.
That was it. Night.
Well, if you guys need to find us, www.ashaktywellness.com. All our services are listed. Please go to our website. If nothing else, just go and be nosy. Just even if you don't agree with what we're doing, you know, you may know somebody else that understands some of the lingo we talk about that can use us. So we have, with no excuses, something for everybody, as well as even some of our affiliate providers that work with us. We have Iman Boykin, who is a doula, a holistic doula. So some of our clients that are thinking about holistic pregnancy, we work with her. To birthing services, we have Janelle, who does the facial. She's a holistic esthetician and does yoni steams and all of that. So I like what T said in our video. When you come to Ashakti Wellness, you may come for a service, but you're going to come and feel like you're part of a family. And so that's where we are. As we help you heal, then we become family. So we hope that everybody enjoyed this. Check out the website. If you got questions, inbox us, any one of us that can help you with any upcoming things. And we hope to be seeing each and one of you, if not face-to-face, virtually. We're virtual now, so our services can be done. Energy work can be done distant. So there's no excuse. The yoga is virtual. So, hey, if you want to heal, you know where to come to. It's no excuse. It's all about accountability now. So loving each and one of you. Hope to see your beautiful faces. And we continue to be healthy. Thank you, guys.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.